welcome back. This is the Ecobiz show. And as usual, what we usually say is we always emphasize, we keep on emphasizing that this show is not about entertainment alone, but also education. That's why we keep on saying this is all about edutainment. And when we switch from music, we come and discover people in the community. And I think in the prior weeks, we have met so many guys. And when you meet people in the entertainment scene who are a bit focused, I would say. When I say focused, I mean they have put the musical career on a financial line. That makes a lot of sense. So in studio today, I have the pleasure of having this lovely lady. Wacha introduce kuliko nikuwe na kierere nianze kutaja jina yake because she has a very interesting name that just reminded me of my karaoke days. So please introduce.
My name is ft.Pendo Joline Katama.
ft.Pendo Joline Katama.
Yes.
Interesting. Mbona kwanza na Joline? Ama nyinyi wale wa Africa, we love our names. So should I refer to you as Pendo or Joline? Joline. Awesome. Yeah. How, by the way, first of all, before we get into the nitty-gritties, how does it feel that Dolly Parton sang about you?
It's an honor and also detrimental to some degree because of the nature of that song, you know. But yeah, I thank God.
Okay.
It made some sense for me. Most people don't find the name weird because of that song.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So Joline, what apart from music, before we get into music, what else do you do?
I am an advocate to the High Court of Kenya.
Okay.
And so I advocate for children's rights and issues pertaining to human rights relating to music. So copyright laws, patents, and such things. Yeah.
Okay. So for someone who's watching and maybe doesn't understand, umdema amesema patent. Patent ndio nini? Just in a few words, what do you mean?
So the Kenyan law normally protects the expression of creative ideas, okay? So in music, it's copyright law. Okay. The copyright law will protect the way you sing a certain song. Not necessarily the lyrics, but the expression of that lyric. And then for people who paint, for people who do fashion designs, such things documented and being a fruit of your intellectual mind, the law does protect such an expression, and that is the patenting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically unapigania rights za intellectual property.
Yes.
Every type of art.
Yes.
Wow. So for how long have you been doing this?
Well, I think this would be roughly my 4th year. 4
years.
Yes.
Wow. How has it been? Has it been an easy journey, especially, no pun intended, you being a lady? Because usually, wanasema, kama unataka kutoboa, you must either be a man or unafanya kazi kama mwanaume. So being a lady, how has it been for the 4 years?
It's not been easy. I think, though nothing is easy in this world today, everything regards of us all to put in some hard work. And so, yeah, I've faced normal challenges as every other young person doing something for themselves. But I've also faced challenges as a young woman working in the legal fraternity and trying to make something out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, as a lawyer, how are you now? Let's move away from that because tayari ushatupeleka on a different scale. Let's get back to what we're used to.
Yeah.
So, as a lawyer, how do you balance the two? Because I remember when I was getting into entertainment, my mom used to always tell me, I want you to get a white collar job. So my mom's vision was nimeka kwa ofisi, nimeva tie, you know, that type. So it is either you're in court, ama scalpel, rini, or you're in office and management, so that type. So how have you managed to balance law and music?
Well, I believe me being a Christian believer, I read a lot of scripture and do a lot of meditation. I've come to realize one character about God. He's orderly. So I've learned to create some system and an order in my life. So the first 2 weeks of every month, I do legal stuff. The last 2 weeks of every month, I do musical stuff. Yeah.
And how is it?
It's amazing. I mean, everything has taken shape over the last 3 years. I started practicing this for around 3 years or 2 years roughly. And I think it has borne a lot of fruit for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's made so many other things much easier compared to before that particular order. Yeah.
Okay. Getting into music, are you? Can I call you because you come from a musical family? I mean, if your
Yes.
parents called you Joline, that just means you come from a musical family. And by the viewer, if you know an artist by the name of Kitole Kenda,
Yes.
I am proud to be seated with the sister right here.
Yeah.
So. Coincidentally, you're also an artist.
Yes.
Have you been singing because you were born in the family that this is in the blood, or you just decided, you know what, I think this is a lucrative place and I can make money out of it, so let me head there? Is that what happened?
Well, I started singing since I was 8.
Okay.
So music has been part of me. But then I think growing up, I asked myself a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
I have a talent in music. Then what? You know?
Mm.
So the then what question made me to bring the legal career in and my talent and start a record label. So yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. You mentioned something good. You started a record label.
Yeah.
What's the name of the record label?
Custodian Music.
Custodian Music. Tell us about Custodian Music.
So Custodian Music is a Christian record label.
Okay.
We do manage gospel artists. And particularly right now, for the last 2 years, we've been organizing mentorship programs and conficerts, which means a conference and a concert. Yeah. So we teach gospel artists in writing of music and expression of that music. So we have 3 principles: truth, spirit, and freedom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we seek authentic gospel music.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before we get into the artists you deal with, you said we. You kept on mentioning we, and I'm talking to you. So that means you're a group. Maybe if we get to know how many are you and maybe any notable names you can mention.
Yeah, well, we have a team of 3 in the leadership. So there's me as the CEO.
Wow. Okay.
And then there's the CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
Yes.
Yeah?
Chopesa.
Yes. His name is Shedrack Nguzo.
Okay.
And then there's Fred Wale.
Okay.
He's the manager.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the team that I have right now. But we have affiliations with different organizations.
Okay.
From Malindi up until outside the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we can say Custodian Music is actually international.
Glory to God.
So how long has Custodian Music been in existence?
Since 2015.
2015.
Formally registered in 2015.
Okay, so we're clocking 5 years now.
Yeah.
Okay. How many artists are on your team?
Well, I'm currently working with around 7 musicians. I do not want to disclose their involvement.
Quite okay.
But we have interacted with other musicians outside Kenya. One of them being Joline.
Wow.
And in Zambia we have Pompi. And then in Kenya we have Guardian Angel, and I think next week will be Danny Gift.
Very good.
Yeah. So
that's a very nice CV. That's a very nice CV. So when you say, because most of the times most artists think of, I go to the studio, record my song, take my music to radio, starts playing, I need to get a video, video plays on TV, then I'm thinking of the next project. Yeah. Are you on the same path, or you are more of enlightening them that music is a career and you can make money out of it, and also it being a brand? And is there some education there? Maybe you can highlight more on that.
We believe that, first of all, it being a Christian record label, we are not ignorant of the fact that money should come in, because the Bible says money answers all things. Yeah. And we are also not ignorant of the fact that the gift and talents are supposed to make way for the giver on the table of kings and queens.
Yeah.
And so we know one thing for sure. You might have the talent, you might have the skill set, but it's your character that will keep you there. And part of that character is financial management. Okay. And so we do insist that people should have some form of organization in their life to have something that will finance their passion. Yeah, so we do teach people about such things.
And how has it been? Because I think our industry is one of the most stubborn type of industry.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so how has it been? Have people taken it well, or some keep on sliding back? I think if I use a Christian term, do some backslide?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with the creative industry is the creativity.
Okay.
Putting the mind of an artist into perspective as far as financial management is concerned is a challenge in its own. And so most of them have to learn from their mistakes. But I think the key factor is a little patience and a little repetition. It goes a long way. Because the artist will come to you, they'll say, this is what I have, this is what I want to budget for my music video, and this is the prospect that I expect out of it after doing the tours and concerts and whatnot. And
Yes.
And then you ask them, what next? Because fine, you make a profit of 400,000. Then what? Do you plan to invest it? Do you want to spend it in your clad in flashy outfits and flashy phones? And then what? You know. But then they would tell you, give me some time, I want to think about it. But then, unfortunately, after that time, everything is gone.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But then you advise further.
You've mentioned a keyword, which is what, as the Ecobiz show, we really push investment. And I know it is a key thing, especially this year.
Yeah.
Ecobiz Sacco has been pushing on investing in talent, and especially with the creatives. So maybe for someone who's watching and they would love to know how they would also invest, not only in someone else, but first of all, as charity begins at home.
Yeah.
So investing in myself, how do I invest in myself as an artist, as a creative?
Yeah. I would say in Kenya, the biggest insecurity for every artist is a roof over their head.
Very true.
So I would say primarily an artist should have their focus into securing property for themselves. And property does not go wrong over time, it appreciates. So you can do that to settle and find a home for yourself, or you can do that as a form of investment. So in most cases, I normally advise artists to look for assets.
Okay.
And those assets, most of them end up in property. And I understand that it's hard for most people to get the perspective of it. But every artist, whether you go tour in America or tour in Sudan and come back, you will still have to come back to a roof over your head. And so if you have the financial burden of paying rent every month, that will take a toll on you, because the nature of our business, us as creatives, is not certain. So you do not have a form of certainty to know that I will surely have capacity to pay the rent. So for you to remove that burden, you have to secure property for yourself. Yeah.
Okay. But actually, most of what you're saying has been a burden for creatives, especially the last 8 months. COVID has come, and COVID knocked everyone, first of all, off guard.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And then if someone didn't have any investment or had not invested in anything before, it really struck them down. And I think we've seen major names in the country either going under or having problems and things like that.
Yeah.
So before maybe you're able to advise the viewer, first of all, for you, how has it been? Because you're still an artist.
Yeah.
And I think COVID was a worldwide pandemic that is still going on. People are picking themselves up now. But how did you go through it? Especially, I would say the first 4 months, especially after curfews were hit, lockdown was hit, and people had no movement.
Yeah.
How did it affect you as a creative, not as an advocate?
Well, I think it slowed down most of the things, and it increased the financial liability on our side as a company, because we had projects coming through, but then we had to be extra cautious.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
shooting of music videos was just a whole toil altogether, and I thank God for the concerts again. Everything was cancelled because of gathering people and
Yes.
all that. But I think what kept us running is the studio, because people still came through and recorded the music. And so we took advantage of this time as incubation for creativity. Most people had more time to connect with themselves and put out authentic songs. Yeah.
You mentioned studio. So does Custodian Music own a studio, or it's just a record label? Because there's some record labels that work in the sense we manage you, we push you, we take you out and all, but we don't own a studio. So that you also own a studio, and maybe where is the studio located and things like that?
We do own a studio, and it's in Twapa.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have parameters on who can record? Because I don't want to sound biased or anything, because you mentioned you're a Christian artist.
Yes.
So, you know, at times they don't mix. So maybe is that your principle, or it's also a Custodian music principle?
It's a Custodian music principle, not my personal principle.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just work with gospel artists.
All right.
Yeah.
And how do you judge? How do you judge who is? How do I put it? Who is right? Who is not? Because anyone can come with that name. I sing gospel music, and so how do you know? Do they go through like the way a pot goes through fire before it's officially put on the table, or come as you are?
I think primarily we say come as you are, because we also carry the understanding the kingdom is not about judgment, it's about progress.
Okay.
So when you come to us, we make sure you grow. If you are not a serious gospel artist, by the time you're done with Custodian music, you will be a serious gospel artist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That is good. Now, you mentioned concerts and all that, and it brings I have to bring your brother in. Okay. So Kitole has been pushing an idea which I felt was a very good idea.
Okay.
And it came out during the lockdown. Maybe for the viewer at home, there was something that came out called Afrogunda.
Yes.
And when Afrogunda came out, it looked more like a Kilifi County thing. Though I think 3/4 of the artists were from Mombasa County, Kitole being one of them. And they held, I think, about 2 or 3 concerts that were shown online, just showing the authentic culture that we have and all that. So were you part of it? And if yes, could you tell us maybe in a nutshell what Afrogunda is more about? Okay.
Yes, I was part of it. I still am.
Okay.
I advise them legally.
Okay.
I didn't want to put much of my creativity because of my audience. However, Afrogunda is an association that is not limited to Kilifi County.
Okay.
It's something that will sprout to grow to become a worldwide effect. And the essence of Afrogunda is to highlight the things that affect us as a community. We as artists, first as individuals, we say msanii ni kioo cha jamii. Yeah? So if you have a neighbor whose daughter has been sexually defiled, what do you do as an artist? How do you advocate against that? Yeah? If you are in a community where the government is not doing anything about things that need to be done, what do you do as an artist? So Afrogunda is a space, it is a registered organization that ideally wants to create change, but effective change through music. So right now the new project is Buy Kenya, Build Kenya. Yeah.
What do you mean by Buy Kenya, Build Kenya?
I mean, we have people who want to spend 20,000 just because there's a label of Louis Vuitton, you know?
I know.
But there are people, for instance, Kenda Apparel. These are people, I mean, the CEO is still my brother, but I'm not advocating because of that. I'm just saying, we have to bring our mentality to a place where America built itself up to the place where we recognize Chanel, Louis Vuitton, we recognize Chris Brown and all these other people,
yes,
because they were willing to promote themselves first.
Okay.
Charity begins at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if we buy local things, then that's how we build our economy. Yeah. So buy Kenya, build Kenya.
And how is it going for you? Is it an idea that is worth investing, or it's an idea that is on testing grounds? Because I think a lot, and a good example is the Jerusalem song. The Jerusalem song was not intended to hit worldwide. It was a testing ground. The producer of the song just happened to be on the song. They're like, let's just let something, and it became a worldwide phenomenon.
Yeah.
So is Afrogunda also on that way, or you have planned strategies that go 5 years from now?
Yeah, it's something that intends to be there for a long time. It's not a temporary or pilot project.
Okay.
It's something that people have sat down. I was part of the fruiting committee. Let me just call it the fruiting committee.
Okay.
And when we sat down to bring every artist on board and we came together to put our minds to see this, it's because each of us felt the need to have such a platform because of the ideas that have been bothering us out of the troubles and the problems we face in our different communities and individual lives. Yeah. So the first song was about police brutality, and we highlighted the things that the police were doing. You know, you were supposed to protect us, but now the protector has turned into a predator. What do you do about it? So Haki Wengao was the message of the day, that we want the justice to remain to be our shield. And therefore, if you have a uniform, respect the uniform. If you hold a badge, respect the badge. I need to see you in uniform and feel safe and not intimidated. So that was the first message. But right now, the second message is buy Kenya and build Kenya. Because we believe if we start investing in each other, then we are more than able to influence the outside world. But charity begins at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are good words, those are wise words. And I love the vision that it's not about music alone, but you're using this talent, this God-given talent that you have, to and not only enlighten people out there, but also work on, I'll use the keyword again, investing on what you have.
Yes.
5 years down the line, you've already, custodian music is there. We have people you're working with, recognizable names. I mean, when you talk about Joel, Pompey, these are big names in Africa. And I like that. So maybe what's your vision for custodian music as the CEO? What's your vision? Do you want, because I'm sure it will reach a point, especially when the publicity goes out and people realize that there is this organization that can invest in my talent and I can invest in them because it's a two-way traffic.
Yes.
What's your vision for the country, first of all?
Well, I want to raise the standard of gospel music in Kenya.
Okay.
We have, you see, the reason why you recognize such a name as Joel Lwaga is because he is part of a system that raised the standard of worship in Tanzania.
Yes.
The reason why you recognize Pompey is because he's part of a system that brought a revolution in gospel music through trap music, hip hop, and all those things. People like Mag 44, these people are influential right now in the gospel arena. But they have to have some form of authenticity.
Yes.
And that is what we are fighting for. Truth, spirit, and freedom. That means you write something that relates to you first.
Okay.
Write your truth. The spirit is God at the center of it all.
Yeah.
But the freedom is understanding that your fingerprint is different from everyone else. And therefore, the expression of your music, you being successful does not mean you should sound like Willie Paul.
True.
You being successful does not mean you should sound like so-and-so. The freedom comes in accepting the type of music that you produce and going with it regardless of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've always said before that so many people are born originals, but unfortunately will die photocopies. And it's a known fact that so many people always want to copy. Nataka kuiga so and so, nataka kuwa kama so and so. And it's a phenomenon that's very hard to remove. in this mindset, especially as Kenyans. There's this mindset, I have to be like this if I want to eat and all. I remember when especially when I started my career, my musical career, I would say. I don't sing, but yes, just playing the music. That was about 15 years ago. There was this conception that you have to go to Nairobi to become a hit. And it's something that is still stuck. It's still stuck in so many people's minds today. And I keep on telling people, I never have to, I didn't move to Nairobi. I'm not a hit, yes, but I've managed to cut through the borders and all. So how do you manage to convince, especially a viewer who's watching you right now, and they're listening and saying, hey, this lady is making a lot of sense. Lakini, kuna venye sina kitu, unaniambia sawa nikuje, you'll invest in me. How will you invest in me? Yes, I can sing. Nikiingia Bathroom Records, I am a hits. Naeza imba vizuri. Lakini, how do I first of all get myself? Because there's that confidence that so many people lack. Most of the times you find these people are found by accident. Mtu alikuwa anaimba like, hey, you know you have a talent. So, do you have like a program that you can go out, maybe search for talent, or just in the midst of education or just enlightening the audience, people get to know, okay, so I have a talent, I'm seated on my talent. Even the Bible talks about the man with the talents. So it's the same thing. This thing about talents, it goes around the block. So do you have a program that deals with such things so that at the end of the day, people realize by there, I can use my talent to make money for myself? Yeah, we do. We've had one project in custodian music that has been running since last year. Yes. It's called Walk in Popcorn. Walk in? Oh, walk in. Yes. Like waking up? Yes. Walk in popcorn. Yeah. Interesting concept. Yeah. So the name Walk in Popcorn comes from the concept of the popcorn itself, okay? I thought it pops. Corn, yeah, it does. But corn under heat creates pressure. Yes. It creates... I know part of physics and chemistry. I know, right? So the corn is normally very hard in its nature, which represents our stubborn mind. Okay. But when you go through the furnace or the fire, through the difficult situations, the Bible says, for even Jesus was perfected through suffering. True. When you go through the furnace, the fire, where the popcorn is put, plus the favor of God, that is the oil and the salt and all the other things, when you popping means when you have the concept of God, the love of God over your life, it's supposed to change you from the inside and then outside. Okay? So when you change your mentality about life, when you change your perspective about life, you will start influencing the results of your life. So, yes, you have popped, you're a popcorn, you're no longer the same shape as the original corn. Yes. There's a whole difference. But that popcorn has to be awake. Yeah. For you to be effective, you have to be constantly in movement. You have to be presented before people. Yes. Yeah. So walk in popcorn. Walk in popcorn. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. So it's been a year since this project. How's it going? How's it going? It's amazing. Last week we had a prayer camp with 30 gospel musicians from Malindi. Wow. Yeah, and fully funded by Custodian Music. Wow. Wow. And, we taught them about some things regarding spirituality and expression, and How many days was the prayer camp, or was it just a day? No, just 3 days. 3 days. Yes. So you accommodated all these artists in one place? Yes. So we could say technically it was like a hub for about 3 days, but with a Christian foundation on it. Yes. Awesome. So is this part of your plans, or you'll come up with new projects every time? No, as Custodian Music now? It's part of the plan, because the root reason as to why Custodian Music was established in the first place was to build a system and build an artist that will be able to... An artist, and Nameless is a secular artist, but they're married, so we can say, let's remove that. This is brother, sister, sibling. How's it been? Especially you being a lawyer for an organization that is also part of it now, being Afro Bunda. Yeah. And then I love the way you're pushing his his clothing wear. You're mentioning Kenda apparel. So how is it? How is it?
Well, I would say, first of all, there's a misconception about Christianity, okay?
Break it down. Break it down.
God is love. God is love. And the gospel of Christ did not come to cause division. Jesus came to give us an example of how we should live with other human beings.
Okay.
And that love is greater than life itself. And therefore, the Bible tells me that I should not have any debt apart from one, and that is to always love. And so it's not my position to judge my brother out of his choice of music. That is him. I did not create him. I do not count the breaths he takes. I did not finance his steps on earth. And therefore, I am okay. I love him just as he is. And I would continue loving him till the day I die, I guess.
No matter what.
No matter what. Because love is greater than life itself. So the choice of music is not an issue with me.
Okay.
You know, it's really not an issue with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for the viewer who's watching you, what, in a nutshell, what would you tell them, or how would you advise this person looking at you? They've listened to you. You've made a lot of musical sense, a lot of financial sense. Now, that last nail on the cross.
Yeah.
How would you advise them, especially that once we are done with this interview, they wake up and realize, I need to wake up like this popcorn?
Yeah. Well, I would say the most important thing is you should invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. If you can invest in yourself first, you know, I would pick something from the Bible. Forgive me if I'm going to preach a little.
Go on.
The Bible says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. So you have to start with yourself. You cannot walk into organizations and ask for loans to help you record music, yet you're not even investing enough time to build your skill in that music, or you're not investing enough of your energy to even think of what you want to do next. So invest in yourself. Every second counts. If you're not doing something relating to your talent, then do something relating to your finances. Yeah.
Okay. So you've heard it from Pendo herself. She's emphasis just basically invest in yourself. And I love the fact that she's an artist and she's also gotten a career on the other side, which is pushing her musical side, because her being an advocate, she's pushing her cause for music. She's able to push her ideas and enlighten you, the viewer, to be able to know more about music on a financial and investment perspective. So maybe on as we finalize, what's your plan as Joline? As in, what's your plan? 5 years from now.
Yes.
What's your plan? Where do we expect 5 years is a bit far. 2022, we're expecting, God willing, there'll be very good elections and we're done. So after elections, where should we expect to see you?
Well, as a musical advocate.
Yes, that's a nice term. Musical advocate, yes.
Yeah, I have my personal goals, and I think I started implementing this back in 2019. And that is involving myself with associations of musicians along the coastal region.
Okay.
So I started with creative arts, working with people like P.D.
Okay.
We did that for musicians in Kilifi County. And so through that platform, I was able to approach the county government to finance projects for the young people. And so basically, I intend to use my advocacy skills to approach governments, to approach other organizations on behalf of musicians, so they can reap the benefits of such. And if I can, then I would strike partnerships with other organizations, again, for the benefit of the musicians. So that is where I want to see myself, where I'm still an advocate for that musician at all times. Yeah.
Parting shots?
Thank you so much, Ecobiz. Ecobiz Sacco. I understand that you primarily have a platform for creatives, and I would say it's very rare to have organizations giving space for creatives.
Yes.
And I would really want to thank you, as a creative representing other creatives. This is a rare opportunity. And if you're listening, come check them out, do your research, and learn more about your financial status, because your talent will always be there, but your energy will not always be there. So learn how to make your money work for you someday. Yeah.
Awesome. I love the way you talk. I love the way you have a future plan. It brings the one top question every man would want to know.
Oh, Lord.
Is Joline single or taken? I mean, we can't, this is in an African term. So,
Okay.
yes.
I am single till married.
Got it. Okay. That's great. Single till married.
Yes.
I have had single, not ready to mingle, single and take it. I've never had that one. Single till married.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get into that explanation because I think that's another interview on its own.
Yeah.
I think you have heard from Joline, the CEO of Custodian Music. I would say one of or the main advice or the low bit, especially to Afro-Gunda. So if you've you can decide to search more about Afro-Gunda, search more about Custodian Music, and you'll get to know more about Joline and what she stands for, what she does. She has told you their fundamental beliefs and their principles. And just as the way they have a plan, Ecobiz Sacco also works on empowering people like you on an investment basis, and she has highlighted that. So even if you don't get the chance to bring yourself, if I should say it in that term, work on investing in yourself, so that you can be able to reap the benefits from yourself. So, Joline, thank you so much for coming to our studios.
Thank you.
We wish you well with Custodian Music. We wish you well with Afro-Gunda. We wish you well with your own career. Any songs you'll be releasing anytime soon?
Yeah, a lot of songs.
Okay.
Yeah, but for now, I guess people can just go to our YouTube. My music is available everywhere.
Okay.
On iTunes, on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, whatever you want to.
So when I go to all these platforms, how do I search?
ft.Pendo Joline.
ft.Pendo Joline.
Yes.
Any double letter anywhere, or it's just single everywhere?
Joline.
Joline. So ft.Pendo Joline, one word.
Yes.
That is on all platforms.
All platforms.
Okay.
But I think that the shortcut would be on Facebook, just like our page in Custodian Music, and on Instagram it's Custodian Musica. So you will find us there, and I think all my information is also available there.
Okay.
Just in case you forget my name.
So thank you so much, Joline. That was quite informative, and we're looking forward to seeing you soon, especially the works. So at least when I'm playing music on the show, I can say, she's been here, done that, and we're playing the music.
Thank you.
Thank you so much too. For the viewer, you've heard how we can get in touch with Custodian Music. Get on Facebook, search Custodian Music, or Instagram, Custodian Musica, and you'll be able to get all that, including Joline. So thank you. Let's resume back to the music.